Thank you so much, John, and thanks to everybody who's taking the time to dial in and join us for this forum. The idea today is really for us to take a step back and, in a very broad way, introduce to you the work that's been done on the MCE website. This is a site that was redesigned starting about 2 years ago, and we're just now celebrating the 1-year anniversary of our launch of the redesign of the site. As all of us sort of realize, a year ago was just at the onset of the pandemic. So at that time, promoting the website and allocating time to talk about it really was not our top priority. We didn't think it was really appropriate, but the work went on nevertheless. Now it's evolved into even more of a home for the conference organizer and the conference community. And we're enriching the content every day. And we wanted to take some time to provide an orientation to a broader audience, as well as record this so that it would be available for folks who wanted to navigate the site and maybe found it a little overwhelming to do so on their own. So that's the idea behind today. And we've received a lot of requests by individual VPs of conferences, presidents of societies, regional heads to take them through the kind of information that's available. And our other observation is that in many ways, MCE is the front door of IEEE conferences. And so many of the tips, the policies, the forms, the tools, the processes are really distributed across IEEE, across individual sponsors and departments such as legal or audit. And our goal is really just to make it a little bit easier to access that information and to navigate it so that your interaction with IEEE can be a more pleasant and productive experience and you can get what you need. We are always available to help you, and that will become evident as we go through the site. But if you want to explore on your own, we hope that this will help you find the information you need in a facile way. I want to introduce the gal who has been really the brains behind this and has done a lot of the heavy lifting to get this site up and running, and is really the person who's coordinating so much of our website, and that is Liz Kurzawa, who is on the MCE team. She's a senior program manager for MCE. Liz, do you want to begin the tour?
Yes, thank you so much, Marie. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, is everyone able to see my screen? Great.
Yes.
Wonderful. So again, yes, I'm Liz Kurzawa. I'm the Senior Manager of Marketing and Promotions in MCE, and I'm going to do a tour of our conference's community website for you. And before we dive into the content, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what's on our homepage so you have the lay of the land and kind of know how to navigate. And we know that there is a lot of content on this site, so we're going to have some time at the end for questions. And after the presentation, you can always reach out if you need some additional support. All right, so starting at the top of the website, first I'm just going to show you, this is our global search bar. So you can use this to search for anything you might be looking for on our site. You just click the little magnifier there and a list will pop up. Then over here you have a button that says Contact Us, and this will bring you to a page that has all of our relevant contact information. And we're going to show you that in a little bit later. Then here we have our top navigation bar. So starting over here, first is the planning basics section. And this really has everything you need to know about organizing a conference, all the way from finding your sponsor through closing your conference. So we're going to explore that in just a little bit. Next, we have the Organize an Event section, and this really has a couple of different resources in it, one of which is our organizer timeline that has all of the different activities involved in organizing an event. We also have links to our conference application and also our conference search, and we're going to be expanding this section in the near future to link up with a lot of the new resources that IEEE is rolling out, so stay tuned for that. Next, we have our Let MCE Help section, and this section really showcases all of the services that MCE can provide to enhance your event. We also have a new section for conferences committee. And basically what this has is a little bit of information about who is on the committee, what kinds of things they're working on, and a little bit of info on how you can get involved. So we'll explore that. We also have the Find a Conference section, and that basically is a link to our conference search that also lives on IEEE.org. So you can basically search for IEEE conferences taking place all around the world, including virtual events. So we might take a look at that. And then we have our About section that just talks a little bit about what MCE does and how we can support you. Okay, so scrolling down a little bit, this is our featured resources area here right in the middle. Over here we have a link to our planning basics section just because it has the bulk of our resources and it's a great place to start if you're new to the site. Over here we have a link to some resources on the COVID-19 pandemic and how to navigate that for your event. We also have a landing page for our virtual and hybrid events guidance, which is obviously a very hot topic now. So we're going to take you through some of those resources during this session. We've got a statement here from our 3Ps about inclusion, which is obviously very important. And then we also have some featured resources for audience development. So these featured resources probably will change from time to time depending on what's most relevant. So, it's a good place to check to see what's new. Scrolling down, we have a little featurette for our conference application, which is obviously a very important step on the conference planning journey. So it's just an easy access. You can click right through and get to your application so you can manage that. And then we have our news section, which we'll also be exploring, where you can go to find the latest and greatest information going on in the world of conferences and events. And then we have a really handy forms, templates, and tools finder, which we'll also show you. It's kind of your one-stop shop for all of those docs and templates that you might be looking for across IEEE. So that pretty much gives you an overview of the layout of the homepage, just so you can find your way around when you're navigating and you know what's what.
Hey Liz, I think this looks fantastic and I'm excited to dive into all of the resources available on the website. I guess the first thing to start with is where would I go if I wanted to find the latest news and updates on things like new resources or policies?
Absolutely. So sometimes our featured resource area, which I showed you here, would have some of that information, but definitely check out our news section because this is where we, put information about new resources, announcements, new policies or policy changes, and all kinds of different goings on in the world of conferences and events. We also have links to our conference organizer newsletter, which hopefully many of you receive. So if you click through here, you can see the latest issue just by clicking here. And if you want to see some of our previous issues, you can just click on this tag right here, and it'll show you all of our previous issues that we have launched. So if you need to catch up on any information, it's a great way to do that. So yeah, it's a good section to go to when you just want to see what is new and exciting going on in conferences and events.
Yeah, that's super helpful. So obviously, I think for a lot of people right now, virtual and hybrid events are top of mind, especially for our organizers. Is there any kind of information on the kind of tools that might be available?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned before, we have a new section on virtual and hybrid events guidance. You can get to that section either through this featured resource area here and also in our planning basics section. So I'm just going to go ahead and click through here, and you'll see we have a whole landing page here dedicated to virtual and hybrid events because, as you said, a lot of events have questions that organizers want to know, they need guidance. So we've developed a whole host of resources on pivoting your event to either virtual or hybrid formats. So you can see here all the different topics that we have. We have a message from our chair of conferences committee, Bin Zhao. We have some guides on going virtual and hybrid. We've got some information about how to think about your program and working with sponsors. So one resource I want to direct your attention to is one about selecting platforms and tools, because this is a question we get so often. There are so many platforms and tools available in the marketplace, so a lot of organizers have questions about how to decide which tools and platforms are right for their event. So MCE reviewed, I think, about 100 at least platforms and tools, and we, took that information and we tried to make it into something that would be easy for organizers to sort of absorb. So what we did was we looked at how these resources are currently vetted. So we broke them into 3 different categories: enabled, trialed, and explored. So enabled platforms have already been vetted by our IT group, and they're accessible either through a license or through full event management. So these are kind of ready to go types of platforms. We also looked at trialed platforms. So these have been used by an IEEE event, but they may require a little bit more legwork to actually get a contract in place. And then we have some explored platforms. These haven't been vetted yet, but our subject matter experts have looked at them, and they could potentially be a good fit for your event. They just might require a little more work to get them set up. We also looked at some of the features that each of these platforms has. So things like price and, does it support live stream content? Is it easy to do it yourself? Or what about exhibitor, options? So we took a look at all of those and we created this nice comparison table where you can see all the different dimensions up top. And then you see this is our enabled category. So these are all the platforms. And then you can see all the different features denoted by the icons here. So you can see, the price range and, whether it's good for do-it-yourself. Is it a full virtual event environment? And then over here, we did a little summary that sort of illustrates what each one is best used for. So scrolling down, you can see we've got some more in the trials category and explored. And we're expanding this regularly. So if there's things that you have used for your event, we'd love to hear about them. So please share them with us and we can take a look and add them to help the community. Scrolling down a little bit more, we also started recently to add some complementary apps. These are not platforms, but they're things that you can use in conjunction with your platforms that will help you when you're organizing your virtual or hybrid events. So we added here Box. That's a tool that you can use as a secure staging area for your videos before you upload them to your platform. So this is an area we'll be expanding more as well. And then down here, virtual event platforms can range from complex to really basic, and you may not want something with all the bells and whistles. So this kind of just breaks it down on to the more simple and those that might have a little bit more of a learning curve. So that might help you in your decision making as well. And then we have an in-depth analysis. This is a big spreadsheet that really goes deep dive on a lot of these platforms that you can take a look at if you're so inclined and you really want to get all of the details. So yeah, lots of great information here.
Yeah, this is really great information, especially having it so easily accessible and at hand. It can be quite the challenge to try and find the right platform for your event when moving into a virtual or hybrid style.
Mhm.
Speaking of that, what other virtual and hybrid resources are available?
Absolutely. So if we click back to our virtual and hybrid landing page, I'll direct you to a few more resources. For example, here, a lot of people aren't sure, well, what exactly is the difference between a virtual versus a hybrid event? So we provided a little bit of info here, sort of talking about what the difference is and giving some tips on how you can decide, in terms of what format might work best, like thinking about what are your goals? Who is your target audience? What about your budget? Does your event require a lot of collaboration? So it's just a little, tool to help you think a little bit about those things before you decide on your format. So that's fun. Also, we have a resource library that we've started that has first, some IEEE resources. We've done a lot of presentations regarding IEEE hybrid and virtual events. So you can peruse some of these here, things like on developing your budget. We even have a webinar on budgeting for 2021, thinking about your registration pricing. and some other topics as well. And this is an area we're also expanding and adding new content to regularly. We had a town hall last year, so we also have those slides available. That was very good, so you can check that out. And then we have a section for industry resources. So these are, reputable organizations working in virtual and hybrid, groups like PCMA. So if you have any additional resources you'd like to recommend for us to add to the collection, that would be great. Let us know and we'll take a look at those. Okay, so going back, I just want to show you one more area. We also get a lot of questions about well, what are other organizers and IEEE events doing with regard to virtual and hybrid events? So if you take a look here, we have a whole section on case studies. So first what we did was we developed an idea gallery, and these are just quick bites, showing things that other events have done that are maybe interesting or fun or novel. So for example, WIEILC last year did a movie screening at their virtual event. The Switch conference did a really cool thing where they illustrated their sessions, and they also gave those as speaker gifts. So you can see some of those here, which is really, I think, very creative. And then a lot of events are choosing to offer content early, so they can kind of supercharge their engagement during the event. So those are just some quick ideas there. And then we have our full case studies. So we have a wide range. We are starting to add obviously more hybrid events because a lot of people have questions about those. So a lot of great information here. Some of these were actually written by organizers. So you can get some really good insight into their journey and how they sort of navigated. Some we've written up as part of our newsletters. So here you can see this one is on smart grids for smart cities. So some really good info here. They had a cool thing called the project zones that you might want to check out. And then we even have a video one, which is from AESS. They talk about their virtual distinguished lecture webinars. And that's by Walt Downing, so you can take a look at that as well. So yeah, we have a whole host of different case studies. We'd love to hear your stories. So we even have a form here that we've added where you can actually go and share some information about what you did, how you pivoted, what were your challenges, and what were your success stories. So, it's really all meant to help fellow organizers and help the community because, it's all very new to many of us. Okay, so that kind of gives you an overview of some of the things in our virtual and hybrid events section.
That's incredible. I'm really looking forward to reading more about the experiences of organizers, especially with such a sudden shift in everything we've been doing. It'll be really great to see how other people manage to navigate it and what successes they accomplished with it. Speaking of navigating new challenges and all of the new things we've had to learn in the last year or so, are there any courses available to help organizers sharpen their skills and learn what's going on and what's new?
Absolutely. So if you're not familiar, we have dozens of courses available through our conference education program, and they're located in the IEEE Center for Leadership Excellence. So we've created a new feature here. If you go to Planning Basics, right, and then you scroll down, you see here we have our conference education program. We have developed a nice course catalog page here that you can click through to. And the first thing you need to do when you come to this page is you do need to log in. So you need to make sure you're logged in with your IEEE account to the Center for Leadership Excellence, which you'll see right there. And then you can take a look at some courses. So first we have some featured courses. So we decided to put a few things front and center. So, we could call out some things of note. So for example, Next Gen obviously is a hot topic. So you can check that course out. We have one on plagiarism screening and another one about peer review. These are all pretty recent. And then if you go down here, we have a really nice search feature that we've just recently added where you can actually search for courses either by topic or by role. So first, if we click on this drop down here, you can see we have a variety of different topics. So for example, you want some courses on publications. You want to brush up your skills in that area. Well, you click that and you'll see all the courses that we have available in the publications area. And if you actually click one of these, takes you right to the Center for Leadership Excellence, and you can go ahead and take that class. So same thing, if you wanted to check out, you can clear it by just clicking that. You can look, see what we have on conference finance. So there's that next gen course and some other courses on developing your budget or closing your conference, all really, really useful information. And the same thing you can do for your roles. So if you're a chair of a conference, what courses are recommended for me? So you would just click on that and you would have some courses here recommended about, again, budgeting, publications. The chair has a lot to know, so there's a lot of courses there. If you wanted to also, maybe you're a chair, two different types of chair on two different conferences. Maybe you're a pub chair and a treasurer. So you can click both and you'll get all of those courses listed here, and it shows you which roles they're recommended for. And then you can also, search by keyword, for example, say if you wanted to look for courses on registration, you would click that and then you would find courses related to that topic here. So yeah, we hope that it makes things a little easier to find again, because the courses are located in a different place. This is kind of bridging that gap and helping you find the courses a little more easily.
Yeah, it's really great that it's all located on the IEEE MCE website. That makes it super helpful, especially the search bars to search by my role within a conference.
Mhm.
Speaking of roles within conferences, if I was
Mhm.
interested in learning more about what the IEEE Conferences Committee is working on, where
Mhm.
could I look for that?
Absolutely. So we have a whole section dedicated to our conferences committee. So if you click up here in the top navigation, you'll find it. And this landing page really gives a whole bunch of great information about what the committee does, what their purpose is. So you can see about, it's an old picture, but you can see some of our folks there. And who our leadership is. So there's our chair, Bin Zhao, and some of our previous chairs. And we also have a little bit about the priorities for the year. So this is what the committee is really focusing on in 2021. So you can check that out. And we also have some info about, you can see who's on the roster. And then if you're interested in getting involved, it has some information about what the different member and roles are on the committee. And if you want to join, how to do that, and then some information about some upcoming meetings. If you want to, hop on and sort of hear what they're working on, what's new and exciting that's going on, you can do that. So a lot of great info. For our actual conferences committee members, they do have a special sign-in only area that has resources for them specific to their roles, so they can log in and get those as well. So it's a nice feature. We didn't have it previous to this website, so it's really helpful.
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, I think that's really great and super helpful to have right on hand like that. Um, could you show me where I would go to find general information about organizing a conference, like how to submit my application or conference closing?
Yep, definitely. So going back to our planning basics section, which we took a small peek at, I'm going to click through to there again. And when you get to this page, you're going to find a whole bunch of different subtopics. So everything from getting started to your conference application. We've got information on conference finance and contracts, registration. There's that virtual and hybrid link, pubs, the conference education program. So you can click through any of these. For example, let's look at finance and contracts. And you can get a whole bunch of subtopics in that area. So how do I build my budget? What about choosing a bank account? What about contracting? Let's take a look at that. So we have some good info here. Here's a nice table about whether you need a contract or a purchase order for different purchase values. So You click through any of those boxes, you're going to find a whole bunch of really, really good resources related to that topic. Closing is always popular. There's a nice timeline for you. So yeah, so lots of good stuff. Let's choose another topic. So for example, publications. So if you click through here, you'll find out all the guidelines. What does the conference publications chair do? How do I set my paper submission guidelines? And what about copyright? So many pages. Again, we know that this is a lot of information. You know, there's so much to know as a conference organizer. So if you need help with any of this, we're always here for you, but please take a look and, you know, peruse it at your leisure, and hopefully you'll be able to find a lot of great and informational resources.
Yeah, this looks incredibly helpful. Documents and forms are changing so much. Where could I find the most updated versions of those? And is there an easy way for me to check through them to see which ones I'd like to, download or learn more about?
Absolutely. So down at the bottom of most of our pages, we have a link to our resources and tools finder. So if you click through to that, we know that there's so many forms, there's so many documents and links, and you know it's so hard to keep everything straight across so many different web presences. We tried to make it as easy as possible for everyone. So what we did is we created this hub here where you can choose various categories of resources that you might be looking for. For example, we want to know about virtual and hybrid events. So here we have links to our going virtual and going hybrid guides, some info on how to record a WebEx and recording your Zoom. We got some branded virtual backgrounds there, so that's just one topic. Again, let's look at contracts because that's always popular. Here we have links to some of our templates for the hotels. Statement of work templates, MMSAs, so a whole bunch of different great stuff. Here you can choose more than one if you want. GDPR, that's always a good one. And again, you can also search by topic as well. So, if you put in, registration, we have a bunch of resources there. So again, we're always growing this. If you have additional resources that you can suggest that maybe we haven't included, let us know. And it's constantly evolving. So
Yeah, it's great to know that I have the most up-to-date documents and forms available to me with just the click of a box. That's super helpful to get to them quickly. If I needed some guidance or assistance on a conference I'm organizing, how would I reach out to IEEE MCE?
absolutely. So we have a nice contact us button that's right above our navigation on all of our pages that you can click. And that will take you to our Contact Us page. And you can see a few of our teammates here. And if we scroll on down, what we did was we broke everything out by popular questions. So if you have general conference questions, here's who to contact. If you have questions about finance, here's the alias that you should reach out to. Or event conduct and safety. So we tried to make it as easy as possible. We also have a general form if you're not sure, and that just goes to our general mailbox. So you can definitely use that. And then we also created a new page here to help you find your conference relationship manager. So I'm just going to click through here. And your conference relationship manager is available to help you with all your questions and guidance. And various organizations have been assigned a CRM. So you can see here we have a nice handy list that you can scroll through, find your organization, and see who your assigned person is with their email address. And then if you want to get a little more personal, we have some photos of some of our folks, because I know sometimes it's nice to see a friendly face. I think we even have John here, so there he is. So yeah, so you can just reach out to any of these folks, and they're ready to help. They understand your organization, and they can help facilitate so many different aspects of your planning experience. So definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's a really great resource to have at a organizer's disposal, and it's really great to get the conversation started. One last question for me, and then we can start taking some questions from the audience. If I had a suggestion for new content, who should I contact?
Absolutely. You can reach out to us either through our contact us page or just through our general alias, which is IEEE-MCE@IEEE.org. And we'd be happy to take a look at your suggestions, your questions, and try to help you as best we can.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Liz, for this great walkthrough of the IEEE MCE website. I'd like to thank you all for joining today's meeting. And I'd also like to specifically thank Liz Kurzawa and Marie Hunter for presenting and sharing such helpful and great information with us. If you have any additional feedback or questions, please feel free to contact us at any time at IEEE-MCE.org or visit the new website at IEEE-MCE.org. You can see the contact information on the slide being displayed right now. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great afternoon or evening or whatever time it may be from where you're viewing this from.
Thank you all. Thank you, John. Good night. Goodbye.